year, I couldn't trade it out. I had to rehab it. But during that time, I had to train and work on stuff. And so a lot of that I worked on throwing into people's hands and reading skills, and not just being fast from the get-go, but being able to survive, block, and return. And so here's some of the drills we came up throughout the years. And the primary one you'll see in various places is a drill called block strike. A lot of people view it as a striking drill. Really, what you're getting from this is a reading drill. It's a 4-minute drill. So most amp guard swords, about 36 inches. These are foam bats. You can do a sword foot. So it'll be sword foot, sword hand, right? So we're fighting right-handed, right this way. If he's left-handed, we're going to go through all 4. So be right on right on left, left on left, right on left, right? So that's a 4-minute rotation. And generally, I don't move the targets around. We're always trying to hit the outside, the arm, and the back body. So foam face is not a legal shot. This can be neck or head. An arm release is not a killing blow, but the torso is very easy to hit, right? Just a quick chop to the, like a little slot shot. So you're trying to either hit the arm or hit the body. So notice that crosses, right? It makes you reach that side to side. And height will be determined by how we throw. So how the drill goes, it's real simple, is that you're not trying to fake, you're not trying to do all this big stuff. I'm just attempting to hit what I think is open, right? It doesn't matter whether it's arm, whether it's torso. I'm going to attempt to hit him. He's going to attempt to block. It doesn't matter if he blocks it or not, right? That's not the purpose of the drill. It's nice if you do, and as you get better at it, you get knowledge. At first, you're just going to get hit a bunch because it's super quick, right? And so he would lead, right, where he's trying to hit me in the arm, and then I try to hit him on arm. And you're basically working on where your hand would need to be to block to not be hit. And so what I'm working on is I'm throwing, so that's, we consider back body secondary, right? So that'd be after secondary. So for my secondary building, so I block it because it's the primary lane where he was throw back. I get in position, and then I'm watching just to see if the sword crosses my vision, right? If it does, then I know just come back to the other shot. If I throw arm, you know, depending how far over or how high my hand is, primary could be one or the other. And so you're really just trying to pay attention to how you threw and what you think he's going to return with. You block that shot, and then you just watch for the other one. So you're going to block the drill, trying to assume where primary is. It can be based on lots of things. So when I throw at his outside arm, my hand's high and over, I know that he's probably going to try to arm time me, right? So then I'm going to come back to it. Because of how high his hand is, his arm is unassailable unless I'm over or in, so I'm not going to scoop at it. So I'm going to show it to him and then try to back body him. Now we go back, you know, the timing and the tempo, hand spacing, because if I want him to throw over here, I can throw into him here, hands low, it comes back. Same shot with a high hand, right? High hand, he maybe want to turn over. That's why high hand, he may come back. So you learn to kind of push and pull people around based on how you threw and how they block. So they're leaning, and it's a pretty quick drill. So we'll do a quick little session and change hands and go through it. So I got hit twice in there, right? Yeah. You're just working that back and forth. So you would do that 60 seconds. Not necessarily that tempo, but that's kind of what we're used to. Then he would switch. He would go to his left hand.
And we're not doing any fakes?
Nope, not trying to fake. So there's a reason for that, right? So attempt to block. Right, you ready? 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 It's too quick. You can just hit it will. So you're just attempting to throw at what's open. And then attempt to block what you think they're going to throw at. The striking is fun. It's the reading that you look for. Go ahead. Same thing. Arm. You can hit inside of the arm if you want to. And back body. Arm body. There's a lot of arm hitting in foam. A ton. Go ahead. Good. No sword foot, stay still. Go ahead. Go ahead.
That look like his left hand whenever you're fighting him STA? Weird, right?
Yeah,
everything's an STA angle.
Yeah. Right. Go ahead.
You wanna switch?
Go ahead. That's a lot of it. So I would switch. He would say left.
Yep.
And I would switch. Arm, back body. Right?
And you're keeping those front feet planted, but the other foot can move?
And try to stay square. You don't want to get long, right? Because you get long, turn long. When your feet, go ahead. I can pretty much just make you turn, and anytime that you turn, you're going to follow, right? With your sword, and just get your chest tomahawked. So, square back, go ahead. I notice a lot of these we're fishing. We're throwing at people's hands, initiating responses. Because the lead is not what I want, it's to follow to the body. The arm. Go ahead. And then I would switch. No, you would switch next.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
left.
usually
You
is
would
right.
switch. We in. Left on right, right? Right. Good. Right.
And you just run those 30,
Yeah.
60 seconds and you
Rest.
throw it. Rest.
Give it a
How
minute.
long is your rest usually? In
1 minute.
1 minute? Well,
Yeah.
so 1 minute, rest 1 minute, run 1 minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can just go through all four. It's in conditioning because the problem is, even though it's a light sword, you're not used to active fighting.
Exactly.
Right.
And you can change those rest points.
Yeah.
You can
A
change
lot of
them
my
to
guys will,
35,
once you get used
30
to
or
it, we just
whatever.
run straight through it.
Right.
And then we rest at the end.
Oh, okay.
And then
But-
change locations.
You can change locations, right? So instead of just being like arm, we could make it specifically. Like we're trying to time the outside arm. We're trying to work the hip. But you generally want them to cross your center line. You want one on one side, one on the
One
other.
on the other.
Preferably high-low. So you're not always pulling low, you're not always pulling high. Shoulder hip, shoulder arm, you know, whatever it is. Because the idea of this is that when people are not good at this, and they're throwing, they get a lot, we call it chainsawing or lawnmower. You're doing that,
Yeah,
that big
pull
motion.
aways, yep.
You just keep pulling on and it won't start, you know, because you're in a bad position and you're reacting poorly. We call it hand bounce, when you're unsure of where you need it to be. So when I block, if that's not what he's throwing for, he's throwing for the other one, and I'm just blocking that one. So you're trying to really hone in where your hand should have been to what you see now, instead of being like, oh, you know, the full start.
Chasing the
Yeah.
block.
Like, nope, no, yeah. So that's all based off. So we're hand match, right? So his left against my right. And so that's his attack point, right? So when I'm here, I'm throwing outside. I go slightly outside of his cone, right? So he's going to come back in. But his attack angle is always from his arm, shoulder. So when I fight two swords, you see that I always fight whatever hand it is, right? And you're moving your hands in to fight that hand. So fight right on right, you know, he has to fight more square because it's easier his back body. When we hand match, you know, it's the outside, you pull, push, and learn where to put people's hands in. So it's just really paying real attention to your lanes of attack, cone defense, where your hand could be in space, blocking here, and it's not always following yourself back. If I'm fighting his arm, he's throwing inside on me over here, so you can deny it there. But if he throws over, I don't have to chase it all the way back over here because where his hand is in space, you can just block it right there. Unless his hand goes outside the cone, you know. So you just pay attention to space. It's just a drill to kind of help your hand bounce and where you want to move around and how you work on stuff. Does anybody here want to try it? I know you've done it. So.
Nah, he was like, I don't want to go do it. Like, I did it forever. He's
I'll
like,
try it.
okay, I
I'll
got
do
to
it.
do it.
With this drill, are you trying to see each other's arms or anywhere on the body?
No, a lot of that is
You
arm
wanna-
chest.
Yeah, you want to pick your two spots, and you kind of want to like learn your opponent's cone of attack and where they can return from where they are. So you get used to the twitch response of the weapon coming at you.
So what you're getting out of this is a fast switch read because
That's
it's
correct.
super fast, right? And so there's no big time. You're either in it or you're on it, you know. And if you can block and read this, I assure you, an SCA sword is far easier.
The other piece you're getting out of this is learning how to block small. You're not
Yeah.
chasing after something.
Yeah, you
you're
want
you're
small
literally,
hands.
here's my throw, here's my block.
Yeah.
You're not chasing. It's like, oh, where they're
So,
throwing next,
We're gonna
I'm
do arm
here.
and back body.
The purpose for the measuring is to ensure that both people can actually hit back body, because usually that's a little further away.
Further.
You have a fighter with shorter limbs or different proportions. You want them to measure their distance.
Okay.
Everybody needs to be equal.
So when y'all say switch, what do you mean by switch?
Arms.
Arms, they
So
switch
once
which
you
arms
full
are going
cycle,
to
right
use.
on right, left on left,
Yeah.
left on right, right on left.
Okay,
So it's a
okay.
4-minute
So
drill.
working all
So
four
you're all
combinations.
also taking turns on whose turn it is to throw versus block.
One throws, the other throws back. It's
Yeah.
an immediate response.
It's a
Right throw,
1
right
1
throw,
1
back
1
throw.
1.
It's a riposte drill in addition
I don't know how
to
you
that.
guys do it. So.
Okay, Bubba, no worries, man.
Here we go.
Oops, sorry.
A lot more movement. See how
Oh,
high he's
yeah,
up and
sorry.
down, he's going everywhere and everything? Borrow this for a second. I'll try. I've done it in a minute. I'm out of practice. So we'll show the example of the how much he's moving versus how much I'm moving, right? So you'll see a small difference. Go ahead, release.
way out of practice. Too much shield grip.
There you go. Good on. Good.
I'm fucking ripcording it right now. The left back.
He's like, okay, I'm done.
This guy's hands going up, down. I'm just in the lane.
Yeah, now he's making it, and then if you can make him get it up and down, now you can create timing.
Yep.
Create your own holes.
Yep.
Go to right. He's obviously right-handed, so he'll do a little better here. Go ahead.
Good try.
So this is useful with dual wielding?
Was that?
This is useful with dual wielding, or
Yeah, well, yeah, because you're using both hands. So now if you want to fight right or
I've
left-handed,
gotten
doesn't
it
matter.
right.
Right? Or you fight Florentine, you can fight Florentine.
shield or no shield?
Yes.
Yeah.
Any.
Okay.
Yes.
This is useful, period.
It's the source. This is what this is.
See how fast they're moving?
Yeah.
It's a brain learning.
Your brain can read that fast.
That's correct.
Your brain can read faster than that.
So you practice reading as fast as possible. When you see slower, it becomes easier.
That's why a lot of the foam guys, when the higher level guys, when they transition over from foam to SCA, come out and are able to
Keep
start
hitting my
hitting
elbows and I used to use my
spots,
palms.
spots on people's bodies that people aren't used to getting hit in. They're just like, how'd you hit me there? It's because they see it and they know how to throw. They have to learn some other techniques to make it hit harder, but they will come out and they'll start.
I
throwing all
fucking
sorts
picked
of
myself
things
out.
that they're
So-
unfamiliar with.
To back up and rewind a little bit, can you explain some things that new people trying this drill will learn over time? Some of those key, like,
Wait, can you demonstrate how you would do this with someone who's like brand new and has no idea what's going on? She's like, what does this look like at low speed for new people that are like, I've never held a sword before?
Start your dominant hand. What do
Yeah,
you
that
want?
way it's easier.
That way it's easier, right? And so when you're crossing, you not want to be reaching. All the big things you'll do in SE. Don't get your hands past your knees unless you have a specific purpose. Trying to stay, we stay measured, not very much. Brown talks about that jab position. You always want to throw a quick jab and be able to do that. It's good to hit people. It's even better to not be hit, right? The guy who wins, the guy who doesn't get hit. Right? So if Josh is the new guy, I'm not. He can go and throw whatever he wants, right? And then I'm just going to slowly throw back. When he throws, go ahead. See how much hand speed, how much movement he's moving his hand? Work. Mine's staying very tight to what I want. You notice that I'm not always throwing at it,
It's
right?
slower
Right?
than they were just
I
doing,
throw at the
though.
hand a lot because the hand elicits a response. If I have a high hand, I hit the
You
hand.
should see when
A
we're
lot of people
all,
are trying to
all in
return.
shape for that.
If I scoop inside, he'll return back, you know? It allows you to get to see earlier. I get an early chance because I knew what he's blocked. If he blocks it, he's going to come back in, you know? If he blocks it, his hand comes over, he's going to come to arm.
so what does the new person learn that helps them
Hand
be?
bounce, you're trying to bring hand. This
yeah.
all this craziness that everybody does. Like Ross probably do real well at this because his hand doesn't move a lot. He knows where it needs to be, and then a little bit of head movement. You're not trying to do all this
No.
stuff. You're trying to be where you need to be and throw.
The other thing that's happening on it, if you ever watch this, he touches that hand, right? So he's bang, and then when he comes over here, he's showing this. So now what he's knowing on this is that he thinks he's made a block. So next time he's just like, so maybe it's like here he throws, I block, right? And then I'll throw here, block, and then so instead of breaking down here, easy block for him. He's done it a number of times. He changes that angle of the wrist and the throw. So now I'm throwing from outside, and it's harder. He just made 2 or 3 blocks, and now he's thinking that's normal, and then he breaks outside of it. I break outside of blows like that all the time, but it's a thing you have to understand.
Come on, Louis. We did it for a little bit. We'll have Louis take the next one. Louis did it when he came down to my house. He was working in Texas. So much fun. So an example of an SEA who's done it a couple of times. So first and foremost, most people's guard's going to be too low. You're going to want to pick your hand up until I can't see the top of your forearm so much. So anytime your hand is low, so I can just hammer shot that, you're going to want to pick that hand up a little bit because you don't have a basket to protect your hand. Right? So go ahead. So you'll notice that when I go ahead, throw, that I'm immediately, as soon as I feel contact, I want it, I'm going. I generally, you're not trying to wait. You throw, I'm like, oh, nice arm. Good, go ahead. To me, it's more about you blocking and reading. Go ahead.
where are your
So notice I'm upping the response time.
Through your opponent in the cone of attack.
Yeah. So
Usually.
each time, first week's first turn, go ahead.
Basically, your shoulder socket. Looking through it.
A lot of people talk about looking at your opponent or somewhere on your opponent. You don't have to look at your opponent. What you're looking through is through the line.
Where he can throw from.
That way you can see everything.
He's leaning to the right, so if you off my body, he's leaning to the left.
peripheral
So if I
vision
want
will
him to
do a
throw
lot
over,
that
he's
you don't
leaning,
realize.
I'll reach a little bit,
Catch
and
a
then he's
lot.
probably going to come back to me. You just follow his line. Throw back in. Same deal when he throws back. I'll lean this way, follow, throw back in. It's paying attention to where your body is and where your sword is. Too many people are chasing stuff down. Be more patient. Catch it, throw. Catch it, throw.
The other piece that's happening in this is there's decision making happening so fast that it's helping you understand how to make decisions and how to see lines inside of decisions you're having to make like that. The faster you can make decisions
taking that mental
anywhere.
noise away. Right?
Exactly, because all you're just teaches that focus because all you're just right here. I can't think, hey, that fence needs painting. Because you're dead.
It's gonna be a
Right.
click. That leg is open.
Yeah.
Click. That head is open.
Yep.
Click. That arm is open.
Right, and you
stuff
can't
like
be
that.
anything else in there. In fact, they don't even think about what got hit. You have to let that go.
I just say, yeah. No.
Or what they miss. It's like how many people are like, throw something, it's like, oh, I missed that. Well, you just died.
It's about the read. It's about the bringing your volume of swing up. Because an SCA sword compared to this is pretty slow. And if you could read and start to see and visualize this, you'll find that SCA combat slows down. The only way to make your current speed of what you do slower is to do something that's faster.
Right.
So if you play ping pong or wreck a ball and all that stuff, the speed of the ball as it increases, you get better at the others. It's seeing, right? It's not necessarily the same mechanic, but that vision comes to you because of what you're working with.
Exactly.
Your brain will accommodate, and you're like, oh, this is way easier to do now, just by small mental drills. So it's not an ornately hard drill. It's pretty straightforward. Go ahead.
Question I got is everything you're doing there seems reactionary. So when you go to the SCA, are you a reactionary?
It's actually not reactionary.
I'm literally blocking everything.
Right? What's
Because
happening?
It seems like everything you're doing to score, as soon as somebody does something, you counter.
Blocking, counter, blocking, counter.
Right.
The important part of that is the block.
Scoring is a block, not a hit in this drill.
You have to be careful. The key is a lot of people think that a block you're countering. It's not actually countering. They're setting stuff up inside of what's happening.
When you throw in his hand, you initiate, he throws back.
Right. So now, exactly. And you're just setting up the next line. And then maybe he picks up that line. If he doesn't, now you're learning what other area is open.
It's a series of reposts. Is what it is.
Yep. It's a
Throw to
series
the
of
left,
reposts
he
that can be
drifts
led
left,
into.
You throw to the left again, he drifts more. You
Yep.
hammer him in the chest on the right. Like,
So,
Yep.
so fighting His Excellency here, and we throw in, and I'm like, well, his hand's awful low, so I want to drift
So
him
now
out
you
a
already know.
Yeah, so I'll throw over. My hand's low and dropping, so more than not, he's going to try to arm time me.
I see the top of the arm.
So he's going to come back to it. And he's already blocked that arm once. And so a lot of times you can show him that same motion as you roll forward, and he's going to guess poorly, right? Because he's like, I'm not sure yet. And you're learning to see that faster and faster and faster and faster. So go ahead, sack. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm getting way out of position.
Yeah.
Move
So
away from the fence too.
A lot of practice, a lot of practice, a lot of.
Yeah. You set time around that, and it allows you to burn through time, and then also learn to manage your breath. You learn to manage all of what's going on in
You're
your
applying tension
endurance.
for that whole 60 seconds. It's more tiring than you think it would be, I assure you. Because you're having to keep your hand up in lane and fight. And switch and switch and switch.
The other piece you're getting out of this, and we don't talk about it, but there's a lot of distance happening, So it's like I'm here, all of a sudden there's stuff gone, and there's these
You saw me
leans.
throw a few
It's like-
times, and I noticed he didn't follow me.
Yep.
So I just
Yep.
brought my hand down,
Exactly.
leaned out of it, and apply pressure again. Because I'm not threatened.
Right.
This will be on Scott Coach's corner next week, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what we're
Will.
doing.
We've talked about it a little bit, and it's just it's an old drill. Like I was probably using it in the mid '90s, and it's super common in foam. My teaching style is pretty well known over there. It's just a way to learn to read and throw that doesn't involve getting hit with a brick. We also do most of our training with the heavier Valr bats with a basket sword, like the foam padded stuff, and we do a ton of our early teaching with foam. We rarely use rattan to teach with until you're not just getting the break speed off you with the foam stick.
Because the issue happens in that is you spend
That's,
more. Again, this goes back to thinking. If you
regular
go
one.
out here and we're just
There's a
pounding
couple
people,
sell 'em.
the thing you're thinking about is getting hit.
Yeah.
More than doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Distancing, blocking, all that stuff. And so a lot. So we'll do some. We're gonna. Not hoppy. We'll do some regular 1 foot stuff. So you guys notice we're doing a lot of weird leaning and stuff. And you don't necessarily have to do that. You can do the same thing. We can stand on that 1 foot, take your weight off your front foot. See, I'm staying very, very clean and court. Go ahead. And it's just more about where you need to be in space. What's the purpose of this? To stay over your feet.
Yeah.
Instead of doing all those
The only
weird
thing
steps
is-
and leans,
Yeah,
if you're
just stand here
standing
for a
on one
second, see how
foot,
long you can balance.
you have to stand up.
Sit over that 1 foot. You have to keep your shoulders up and be ready to go. Okay.
He makes
That
people
teaches
do the Pell drill that way, the 1 through
I
6.
do make people pedal a lot on 1 foot. A lot of people are cheating. They're using their hips and their feet. You do it on 1 foot or pigeon toed. You sit down in it. It makes you realize how much you're cheating with your body to throw good shots.
And
It
to
was
your
a
question from earlier,
interesting
if
insight.
everything's reactionary, when you're in a sword fight, rarely does your opener kill someone. Generally from a good neutral guard, you have to do something to get them to move. So in this game, what we're doing is, I'm attacking, I see what makes sense to your lizard brain. This feels good, you want to throw this. I know that, so I throw, block that, and then hit you. I'm not planning to kill you on
It's
the
a boxer
throw.
jab.
I want to hit you on that 3rd or 4th or 5th exchange. And then as we get better, you
I mean,
pull them
if you
further
choose not
away,
to block the first
out
one.
of the out of the tone, and now back body. And now they're going, I don't know where healthy is right. Now I'm just getting smoked both sides.
Yeah, they're doing all that jerking and pulling, and then you're just straight arm timing people. Because once you've done it for a little bit, and Valr gets in his guard, and from distance, for as a whole, I feel like I can always hit people's arms because that's what I was so good at for so long.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It's just a stutter go, and so say that the guy, it's his regular fighting, so he used to that arm shot, he likes it, he wants to stay.
I also made my bacon on that stuff that you taught me.
It's just a different way of doing it. You guys don't have to do it with 10. It can be done with other things. Reading skills are universal. That's why most of the guys that came over with me, I probably brought 10 Warlord Knights of the Sword from Amcard. Most are all Dukes, Counts, and Knights now, within a few years. I got knighted here pretty quick. Fighting is universal. You don't have to learn it with 10. You can learn it with anything. Pain doesn't have to be part of the process.
No, don't.
It's just a different way to do it.
And how many bouts can you get in with this?
A fucking
Yeah,
ton.
SA practice, you might fight 100 times.
Yeah, it's all
That's
about
a
the hours,
fucking
time in,
excellent
time doing.
You'll fight 10,000 bouts
Right.
in an evening.
Do 100 in an hour.
Yeah, we'll do box fight, box fight, box fight. We'll alternate 2 in, they'll do it. We'll rotate out, and you just do it till you're tired.
Yeah, and the good part, you can do it tomorrow.
And
Yay!
once we're done with basic, I like everybody's
Right.
hands. We'll
And
do
the day after
CSR
that,
sparring.
and the day after that.
The ability to move and read is universal.
I'll be doing it tomorrow.
This is more, I guess, maybe a technique type question, but His Excellency, when he was fighting earlier, was talking about how he got just way, he was getting way too far out.
You're used to big moves in the SCA.
So how does one, because this would translate back to the SCA too, is how do you recenter yourself in the fight?
So do you guys think that Branos has big movements when he's blocking? You think I have big moves when I block, right? No. You think he's having some big moves out there? It's just learning where you need to be, not where you think you need to be, right? You need to pay attention to where it's actually going to hit you at. The quicker you learn that it's not this block, it's here. It's not that I need to block at my leg. Oh, I should just step back, And as you do repetitions, you understand more and more of where your body needs to be, and you're not trying to fucking start the lawnmower all the time.
I mean, you see, and I mean, there's times, and this is great and all, it looks beautiful on film where somebody does something underneath it and they duck, and then everyone's like, woo, look at that, it's great.
Yeah,
and that guy who ducked, if he's really good, he's like, man, did I fuck up?
Yeah, that was the last rush. He's like, oh Jesus, that was terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
And he lived through it. And he's like, I lived. Not a good thing.
But then the first thing you think is like, man, how did I get there?
Yeah, super lucky, right? Always, when we talk about the more I practice, the more lucky I am. It's about minimizing movement. It's about getting your arms smaller. It's about being square. Stop turning off center. Face your chest, your belt buckle up people, and just pay attention more in fights.